Hello. So here we are in, I didn't have a drink while we were having a break. I'll just have a drink now. Here we are in part 3. And if you don't know about Paperpile and you use referencing, so you're writing academic papers and things, go give it a whirl. It integrates with Google extremely well. In the presentation, you can click the link to see a whole load of presentations showing you exactly how it works and all the features it has. And again, it's fantastic, particularly for collaborating on research, so that you can share lots of references and share the PDFs related to those references. And a big advocate of it is Matthew Collins, and I interview Matthew Collins, and he enthuses about every aspect of it and how it's widened his knowledge by working with people. So go give that a whirl if you're writing academic content. Doodle. If you don't know about Doodle, I don't know, have I got a Doodle task? Maybe I'll cover that later. Doodle is a tool for arranging meetings, and I'm going to do this with you later to see when we can all get together to discuss this session. One task that I think I cover later, can't remember, is connect your calendar. Go and find Doodle on the University of York pages and go there and go to the settings, connect your Google Calendar, because then when you say I can make these dates, it puts them provisionally into your calendar and takes them out when the right one's chosen. Really handy tool. Don't send people mail saying what's your availability to 8 different people. You will go insane. And I'm going to make a plea for you to try other tools. Hopefully you've now tried either Lucidchart or MindMap or LucidPress, and maybe you've tried all 3. But there's some fantastic ones out there. I mentioned Pixel Editor. There's some great photo editing or visual tools. There's tools like Concept Board where you can add lots of ideas together, so it's good at the idea stage of a project. And two of the most popular tools at York are Trello for sort of lightweight project management, and Slack is used a little bit for it's like Twitter for a project, for an organisation. So this is kind of me showing you can go to add more apps straight from your settings. So Trello looks like this. Trello, you have all these boards, and typically, might not look as pretty as this, you would have to-do lists in those boards and messages and discussions. Some people are massive fans, and I keep trying to use it, and I'm struggling a little bit, if I'm honest, and I'm jealous of the people that can use it, because you can create project boards and say, create shared to-dos, and the idea is quite often you might have things you're working on now at the left-hand side, and things coming up in the next panel, and then things in the future, and maybe things on the back burner, and you move things between boards. It's a great tool. I want to get better with it because hundreds of people are using it at York, and I keep on defaulting to standard to-do lists because I'm old-fashioned, but I keep trying. I'm going to get there. RSS Newsreading is a thing that before the days of Twitter and Google Plus communities, there was only blogs, and RSS is a way of subscribing to headlines. If you're interested, worth a look. It's a way again of keeping ahead of your industry, finding out what's happening. Two really good tools: InnoReader, and the linked in the slides, and Feedly. And Feedly integrates with Google quite nicely, but is becoming more of a paid product. And then there are sites like RSS Data and .ac.uk, which then can make these things come alive, because this is basically all the news from all UK universities. So if you were interested in, say, pedagogy or snails, then it brings back a list of news results related to that, and I can then subscribe to that using this link by copying this link into Feedly or InnoReader. So there's. It's still not had its day yet, hasn't RSS Newsreading. I would suggest, if you've got time to explore it, give one of these a whirl and start building your own personal newspaper. It can really just sort of bring the news to you, if you like, the things that you're interested in. It could be a real hodgepodge as well, which can be nice. Social bookmarking also. which is, I use a tool. I used to use a tool called Delicious, and I'm kind of moving to one called Djo, which allows you to just, when you're at a web page that is interesting, bookmark it and tag it. And why this becomes interesting, because when you can do this collaboratively, you can start to build a resource, a collection, a way of saying this is the database, if you like, of things that are relevant to this subject area. So quite often they integrate into the Chrome browser, so there's tools that make them easier to use. So give that an explore. If as a team you need to be finding things and keeping track of things and pointing to things, very useful. There's Slack. I'm not too enamoured because I think other tools do a similar job similarly, but lots of the cool kids out there on the internet like Slack. I think it's okay. You might want to just have an explore and see if it's relevant. Yeah, give it a whirl if you want to. There's a tool out there that we're using a lot, and this is, if anybody knows HyperCard or knew of HyperCard, it's called Livecode, and it allows you to build interactive media, programs if you like, but recently they added the ability to compile to iPhone or Android. So it means that you can actually make your own app, or consider making your own app. And we've made a few apps at York. We made one that's an audio guide to an archaeological dig called Brewery Banks. It's very simple, but it does the job. And you can see on the left hand side, you sort of drag tools across and put scripts in them saying go to card trenches or go to card memorial, and then you create another button that says play audio or memorial or whatever. Very easy to use and very good fun. So that might be something that if you're interested in making an app, like this would be something worth spending a little time playing with. We did some guides to archaeological sites in Norway. Interestingly, we used Hangouts for me to teach the students from York. You can see the left-hand side, right-hand side here. Here's me in the corner looking at their projects and sharing how we actually make this in Livecode. Something else to know about is AppScript. Because using JavaScript that looks a bit like this, at least my JavaScript does, you can extend lots of the Google tools. So you can go from a Google form to a Google spreadsheet, and then save it as a document, and then send out an email to someone saying this document's now here, and add items to calendars. So for small projects that you just need to start connecting things together, you may have a list of dates that you want to put into a calendar, or you may have any number of things that you can imagine. I want to create a Google folder for every student type thing, and you can do that very quickly and easily with AppScript. And all the tools are built into the Google Suite. So it's one which I've taught people who had no technical knowledge, and they have actually managed to now build quite complex systems. For example, disability services now, when somebody arrives, they fill in a form for them to fill in that says these are your disabilities and these are the people you'll need to talk to, and it builds a whole folder structure and puts in case note files from templates and things. So it aids, it turns something that would take hours and hours to set up for each student into literally a one-click hit, where they can then know it's all done, that the people have been notified that this has been, this person's been added, and here's the case notes. So definitely worth an explore if you're interested in learning AppScript. We used AppScript to do an embedded guide to collaboration, where all it was we created a spreadsheet that had times and Google Slides attached with video in, and it sent us a task every day to students with their the slide in with the tasks, and they worked in groups and learned about how to collaborate whilst working on project work. So it's almost like an automated training tool. And that was done just with a very simple AppScript that sent out the emails at the right time. So yeah, so let's, having looked at all these tools, and once you start playing with them, you start to realise that you could use some of them to fix some of the things that aren't working. So email for me, let's have a look, maybe get together as a team and talk about what really gets your goat about other people's email usage. So things like CCing without context to me is a heinous crime, but may not be to other people. Or some people using email as a to-do list governs the way that they use email, or sharing Word documents to me is another one that's really annoying. There's a really great site out there called emailcharter.org, and it says other people's time is precious. And go to that site and have a look and see how many things either you're doing or annoying you. And because most people complain about getting too much email and then send out a lot of email, myself included. So let's fix these things. Let's look at your email footer and say, well, is it really that important to have a massive logo in there when the people that you're talking to most of the time know what your logo is? What might be more useful to have in your footer? What might actually be helpful? And what could that be? So I still come across people who swear by their paper diaries, and I always use the analogy of indicators on your car for a reason. It's not to make your car go around the corner better, it's to let everyone else know what you're doing. And lots of people don't want to let each other know what they're doing, and that's fine, because you can set your calendar to only see that things are in there, not that what they are, which is perfectly okay. But it's so helpful to everyone else in the organisation to be able to look at your calendar and see, oh, well, I can see they're rushed off their feet this week, but that day looks like there might be a chance to have a 5-minute conversation about this. So do it for the other people. Don't do it for yourself, but do use Google Calendars. And think about meetings and how is the scope for working on a document beforehand, so that when you get there, all that's needed is the decision, if you like, rather than some of the background gathering. What can be done to improve them? Maybe you're in a lucky position when none of your meetings feel like they could be improved. But same goes for presentations. Is there anything that can be done to improve the sharing of information, essentially? Could it be turned in, for example, this session, given that numbers are always quite low because it's quite an unusual one, I thought doing it this way might allow people to watch this presentation when they were ready, as opposed to waiting for the next one to come around, which could be next term. So maybe that is something worth thinking about, and which processes might be improved quite often with a little AppScript or a tool like Autocrat or Formule, where just by making something available as a Google form, you can fire things off that actually result in much less admin human time being spent on something and a faster service. So using the disability services example again, this meant that people were in the system as they were leaving the building, not weeks down the line, and people stopped getting lost between the cracks, if you know what I mean. So, your tasks. Your final tasks are to maybe go through the slides, try all these tools. We're going to get together at some point in the future, and you're going to share what you've done. So you've got to do something. But also, more importantly, I want to hear what you'd like to do. If it's a little bit, you don't quite know which tool to use or which approach to use, or what the pitfalls might be. Let's talk about those things rather than me just sharing what things are out there. So yeah, so there, we're done. So I hope this wasn't too painful. I really need a drink of water now, and I'll see you in a little while. Bye.